Welcome back to the Rouges, where we talk everything Canada soccer and US soccer. Hey, guess what, guys? It's that time again. It's time for another sub special as we've broken 50 subs, and I am really, really happy, and I'm really amazed and happy about this. As you guys have been great. It's been 5 months since this channel's been started, and we're already at 50 subs. So you're averaging 10 subs a month. I mean, that's incredible, and honestly, to me, I thought, I never thought it would happen this way or this fast. And so I'm just really happy and thank you guys for all the support that you guys have given this channel. And to be honest, it's really been the 3 videos too that I posted. I think over the course of the few past days that have really blown up in a way. I say blown up, as I say 200 views, maybe 300. Of course, in the eyes of bigger YouTubers, it's not really blown up, but in this case, my eyes, I mean, it's definitely a lot more views and likes than I get, and comments than I get than other videos. So I really, really was shocked to see that, and I literally just woke up and saw that overnight. That we went from 40 something to now 56 or 57, something around hovering that, and yeah, so we've broken the 50 sub threshold, and that means it's time for me to talk about something interesting, I guess per se, and so. And before I even talk about our topics for today, I want to just go ahead and talk about to the people who are new to the channel what a sub special is. And to me, basically a sub special happens every time I reach a milestone. So it was 10 and then 25 and now 50. Next one will be 75 and the one after that will be 100. And basically what I do is whenever we reach a threshold like that, I put on this jersey. This is the Raptors jersey, and quick story behind that too. The reason why I chose a Raptor jersey, and one, because it's purple, and purple, I like the neutrality between both Canada and the USA being red and blue mixed together to make purple. And I think that's really works out. That way I can appeal to both audiences of both teams for a subspecial and try and talk about as much neutral topics as possible. Although the last couple have been geared towards, I think one of them was towards the American context, and the other before that, and maybe the other two were Canadian. Um, and basically what I do, I just pick certain topics, and speaking of that, I had a lot to talk about. We had a lot that we could have talked about today. Um, but I figure that instead of trying to just cram everything into one, rather than making 3 separate videos for this sub-special, we're just going to drag them out. And instead, we're going to just save one of the topics for 75, save the other one for 100, and save the other one for 125, should we get there down the road. And so right now, I've really picked out of all the topics, and this was really hard for me to choose which one was most important, not really most important, but which one seemed most appealing and most interesting to talk about at the moment. And something that's really piqued my interest as well, something that's really always been a big thing of me when it comes to football or soccer leagues and their expansion or even the construction of new stadiums along with new teams. So that's what today's subject is about. you know. And so with that, I do want to talk about the CPL or the Canadian Premier League, and I've chosen one kind of semi-long article that you guys will read together, as well as a few snippets from Wikipedia. I know Wikipedia, and we're gonna be talking about possible cities in Canada here that may be seeing a team in the future, or as well as opening a discussion for you guys down in the comment section, telling me what city you would like to see the next CPL team in near you, perhaps. And I'll also give mine too. But with that, I wanted to just dive right into the CPL and talk about the expansion of the Canadian Premier League. And the reason why I've chosen the CPL to talk about today is because I think this league does not get enough credit across North America. It is on the rise. MLS, of course, is overshadowed still by MLS and Liga MX, but I think I'll say the Canadian Premier League is not they're not far behind. They're really on the rise here, and so they also recently expanded too with Atletico Ottawa in 2020, I believe. Let me check that. I think we'll find that out in a few when I check Wikipedia when we read it together. But yeah, but they're already talking about expanding the league even more, which I think they should do. We got we got a whole province without a team. Two of them or a couple of them. You got room for Quebec and Montreal. They can have some teams. Saskatchewan can have some teams. maybe some of the cities like Toronto and Vancouver could have a second team. I mean, Vancouver does. I don't think they have one. Pacific is over in Victoria, so shout out to the correction the other day on the other video that I said. So thank you for that. And so I don't know if Vancouver has a CPO team at the moment. I think they do, but if not, we got to give Vancouver a team. I think they don't because they have Vancouver Whitecaps for the MLS, just like how Montreal has the CF Montreal for the MLS as well. But I say, why, you can still give them a team, right? You can still give them a CPO just by having an MLS team. I mean, I think that just makes it better, and it just helps expand the soccer around the country. But without further ado, I do want to talk about the articles. It's kind of lengthy, so I don't want to hold you guys too long. But that's always been something I've been fascinated with. But quick note here: this article that I am about to read is from March, so things may have happened already that we haven't covered yet. But this is from March 12th of 2021, so I think when they talk about Ottawa here, we already know that Ottawa has joined already, and yeah. So there. And speaking of that, without further ado, let's talk about this. So the article says rumors CPL may see 2 expansion teams for 2022, and Canadian Premier League expansion talks are suddenly red hot after a year of hibernation due to the pandemic. Last night saw the Canadian Premier League tease of the arrival of a 9th team out of the blue, prompting fans to speculate about where the new arrival could be based out of. I'm curious too. Following the news, Transfer Market's Manuel Veth and Sportsnet's Dan Rico have now both speculated that there could be 2 teams added ahead of the 2022 Canadian Premier League season, though it appears only one of them will be announced later on today. So back today, of course, being March of 2021, earlier this year. If 2 teams are added before the 2022 season, this would prevent the issue of an uneven schedule, prompting a surplus of midweek matches. So I think that currently there's 9 teams, I think, in the CPL right now, and adding a few more or one more, that would make it even, so 10. Really want to see them expand more, but we're about to get our answer here. It would also ensure that the league is well on target for its goal to have 16 clubs ahead of the 2026 World Cup. So good. And just like what we often hear about with the MLS down in the States as well as up here in Canada, there are massive improvements that are set to be undergone by the league as well as now the CPL by 2026 World Cup. So, we're seeing that the continent as a whole is seeing 2026 when everybody hosts the World Cup, U.S., Canada, Mexico, as a benchmark year, kind of set the tone and really show the world what North American soccer is all about, especially in the U.S. and Canada. So that's the benchmark that we're seeing here with the 2026 kind of deadline, as I say. I'm going to keep reading. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, Canadian Premier League Commissioner David Klachan, if I'm saying that right, Klachan, has gone on record to say that the league was in discussion with multiple ownership groups in Quebec. The province has been a powerhouse for producing footballing talent, with numerous Canadian Premier League and national team athletes stemming from the area. That's what I'm saying. I say Quebec should have more teams, just like Ontario should have more teams. There's a lot of cities, but before I really get into the meat of that, I want to finish reading this. I think that they've always been one of the good provinces in Canada in terms of soccer. And I'm sure we can tell by the amount of players that Quebec has been able to produce that are now playing in professional environments, whether it's in the MLS, CPL, USL, or overseas. As the CPL keeps growing, I'm sure we're going to see more and more talent coming from Quebec. The numbers are there, and the talent is there, and the developing structures is in decent shape. From Halifax Wanderers midfielder Jeremy Gagon-Lepre. I don't know if he's from Quebec. Sounds like it, but I'm not going to assume. Months ago, Veth had also reported that a Bundesliga side was interested in launching an expansion team in Fraser Valley, which is in BC, I believe, an area where former FC Edmonton head coach Colin Miller said was a prime destination for a new team. And that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be a big city to be in expansion. We can have like it over in the Premier League where small towns can rally around one major league team. I mean, that's the thing that I kind of wish about both, even in the MLS too. It doesn't have to be a big city, right? It can be in the middle of nowhere and just have a team you can have support for it. That's why I just make it fun. It also adds to the kind of storyline of little brother and big brothers, right? Or David and Goliath. You've got these small towns that can make like a magnificent run versus these ginormous cities like Toronto or New York, where the Goliath may also fail. So that's what I kind of wished I want to see in MLS as well as in the CPL, even up here too. Is more small town teams. I think that would just add to the fire and just add to the fun of everything. Ahead of the Island games, Clenachin also dropped out an out of the blue comment that Toronto is big enough to host a second Canadian Premier League team too. I think they are too. I think they have York United, formerly known as I think it was a York Nine, and I think they could host something too. I mean, I think they got room down at the University of Toronto to host another team. Maybe they can use their field just like York United uses York University's Lions field. So if they could, maybe they'll look at downtown, like specifically here at University of Toronto. A new team in Atlantic Canada has also been discussed on multiple occasions, with the likes of Saskatoon and Mississauga being less likely to arrive in the near term, but highly likely to arrive in the long term. Surprised Mississauga doesn't have a team too, such as Vaughan or even the other Toronto suburbs that surround us. The league is set to make an announcement regarding the ninth team at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this morning, once again March 12th. Earlier this year, the new expansion team isn't expected to be ready in time to participate in the 2021 Canadian Premier League season, which Rico states will be getting its schedule released next week. And that's what he was talking about, how there's potential possibility for expansion in 2023. While the club's first ever expansion team, Atletico Ottawa, which I talked about earlier, was announced just 2 or so months ahead of the original 2020 schedule of the season, it's unlikely that the ninth Canadian Premier League team will want to run through a similar gamut. Whether the team plays in 2021 or 2022, however, this is certainly an exciting time for fans of the domestic game, especially in tandem with rumors of a separately operated second division. Wow. It's been a busy week for Canadian Premier League. In response to the plenty of discourse about low player salaries, the league's head office has made information regarding the 2021 salary cap public, while also disclosing some anonymized club player salary expenditures from the inaugural season. And lastly, it says league. Back then, the league was appearing to discuss this at March 12th, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's that article. And then I'm going to quickly jump to Wikipedia here, where it talks about the expansion. I'm not gonna read this one, but I am gonna post it so you guys can see it. But I just want to go down to the run of cities. So we see St. John's, Moncton, Laval, Quebec City, Kitchener, Waterloo, the Niagara region, Durham region, Mississauga, Regina, in Saskatoon, Kelowna, and the Fraser Valley. So, and other areas including Barrie, Montreal, and St. John. So those are just two of the cities that I see, or two of the cities that I think, if you ask me personally, and we can see it here too in the next one I have right here. It says currently that, I'm just going to summarize it. There's talks about a soccer-specific stadium being planned by 2023 in Saskatoon or somewhere in Saskatchewan. And for me, if you ask me, I mean, to me, I'm surprised that Regina or Saskatoon does not have a CPL team. I think they could have the market behind it. I know Canadian football is big out there, but I mean, who says that you can't put soccer out there too? But other than the cities that are all listed, even Toronto or having a second team, or just adding more teams to the area. I mean, to me, I have two things on this. One, I wouldn't mind seeing more small town cities like Windsor or London, Ontario, or cities like that. That are like medium-sized cities that can have a team. I think that the support can be there, and I think that if there's enough investment, that you could also make a good market out of it too. And second, what I want to say is, you can make Toronto kind of like the London of the Premier League, the Canadian Premier League. How London has on average, eight Premier League teams. all just around circling the Greater London area. You can make Toronto like that as well, with having you'll have York here. You could have a Mississauga get one. You could have Vaughan get one. Richmond Hill, York region can get another one. Even Pickering. I say there's definitely plenty of room potential in the GTA, especially given the passion of the sport here, just in the area. Montreal and of course Quebec City. If you can get those two cities one, they can be a nice rivalry that can be formed. Same with Saskatchewan and Regina. Saskatoon and Regina. That can also be another rivalry. But even then, it doesn't have to be a massive metropolitan area. I think you'll be fine just giving like a medium sized or small town city. But with that pretty much just sums up what I want to talk about today. I didn't want to go over too much, but I want to just lead this with discussion as open this up to you guys. What's Canadian city, or even area in Canada? It doesn't have to be a city. It could just be an area or a region. Would you like to see the next CPL team or others potentially looking at in the Canadian Premier League? So feel free to comment down below. I like discussions. Like I said earlier, this stuff is right up it's up my valley. I'm always fascinated with league expansions, stadium constructions, and just new teams, and new rivalries that can be forged. I'm always just down for that. So if you guys have any ideas on what the next city you want to see in the CPL is, please comment down below. But for that, for this one, for terms of CPL possible rumored expansion, that pretty much does it for these 50 sub special. If you like this sub special, make sure you like it, share, subscribe it, tell all your friends about it, and also tell all your friends that remember the clocks go back tonight.